together. If I was lost at sea, you'd be my light that would guide me home. If I was lost somewhere outside, you would stop until we were close. Oh, when the leaves fall down, we keep each other warm. 'Cause this small town we live in the north, it gets pretty cold. If you fall down, I will pick you up. If we fall apart, I'll put the pieces back apart. If we fall down, I will lift us up. You fall down, 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 you fall down, I will pick you fall down, 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 you fall down, I will pick you fall down, 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 you fall down, I will pick. Smell of the autumn leaves in the cold, it has a different feel. It used to bring me down, now it just warms my heart. And the raindrops on the pavement, while everyone else sleeps, where we run under the streetlights and dance under the rain. Until next time, I will see you then. You fall down, 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 down. You fall down, I will pick you fall down, 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 down. You fall down, I will pick you fall down, 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 down. You fall down, I will pick you fall down, 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 down. You fall down, I will pick you fall down, 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 down. You fall down, I will pick you fall down, 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 down. You fall down, I will pick you fall down, 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 down. You fall down, I will pick. I know tonight is gonna be a good time with you right by my side. I don't know how I ever did it before you were into my life. We have a fight sometimes, and that's just fine. But we've been looking for this for a really long time. So for tonight, let's just dance, little weekend romance. 'Cause you're too beautiful just in that dress. And I've been broken and I've been fooled. I've been so lost I didn't know what to do. I'm so glad to have you. You pull me out of the blue. I just wanna dance. today.
Honey, you look so amazing and everyone is up and dancing.
You guys doing good? Right on, right on. Let's pause that. Let's get right into it. What's up, you lunatics? Oh my god, I forgot my ukulele. Shut this too. That door. What's good, people? Of course, we have to do the song. It's wrong if we don't do the song, right? Well, I'm bored as shit, got nothing to do during this quarantine time. So I might as well just sit in my house and make some type of podcast. It's a podcast time. Alright, guys. Let's turn this off. So I'm going live to you here on YouTube. We're doing the podcast on YouTube because I do a lot of stuff on Facebook. So I figured, this is a great time for me to make more content and bring back the quarantine podcast because a lot of people have asked about it. For those of you that stuck around with me in the last quarantine about Storytime podcast, that's going to be a thing. You're going to hear me mix up the two all the time. So I apologize already if you hear me mixing them up. But yeah, last week we did we talked about the soup dumplings, and that's a fun story. I always love telling that story. That's a good one. So if you guys want to see that video, feel free to click up. Well, I'll probably add it later. I'll do something like that. I'm so prone to making the videos now that I'm like, click up. No, it's not gonna be happening. Just I'll make sure to tag it afterwards if you're watching this after the live stream. But yeah, so it feels good to be back doing these, man. It feels really good. I'm just really proud to be doing these. So I'm making, for those of you that have been watching and following the process, I'm in the process of making my first album, which is huge. It's gonna be massive. I think it's gonna have like 30 songs. I've just finished the first 20, and it's gonna be huge. And some people have been asking me why it's gonna be so big and stuff like that, but the reason why it's gonna be so big is it's all the songs on YouTube and stuff that I've collected on during quarantine, and all these songs I've done it on my own, because I like to consider myself kind of like Prince, like who would write a song like every day. Believe it or not, me and my fiance were just talking about that, how I'm always writing. So I have so much content that these 30 songs, it's not so much for me. I have so much more than just 30 songs. I have 3 EPs I think before this, or 4. So, and this album, and then it's gonna be huge, and it's gonna allow me to breathe and to create more content, because this is stuff that I've been staring at my computer for like at least 2 years now, that I'm like, yeah, I'll get to at some point. That's why there's so many songs, because there's songs that I've been meaning to get to. Anyway, enough of the album. That's gonna be in the future. You guys will hear more about that, I'm sure. But yeah, so this past weekend was incredible. It was a lot of fun. If you guys have seen my last video, I did a vlog at Stripe 9 Brewing Company, and thank you guys already for the likes and for the views on that. I really appreciate that. It's a lot of fun to make these videos, and I'm learning and I'm getting better at it as I go. So it's just a lot of fun for me to do it. I've watched so many YouTube videos. I grew up making mock YouTube videos that never really got much attention, but I enjoyed always making them. So it gives me that little outlet to be my own filmmaker, I guess. I don't know, and just have fun and showcase some stuff with you guys, you lunatics out there. So yeah, I made a vlog on that, and it was cool because at the end I got to talk to Sean, who is one of the main brewers at Stripe 9, and he's the owner. He is the brewing guy. That's pretty much what I say. I mean, every time I'm playing there, he's there, and he's always hopping tables, and he's such a social butterfly. He's pretty much what I like to call, people that are that social. Which he's a great inspiration. So check out that video, and just he's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun just playing at Stripe 9. It was a great time. So yeah, I plan on making more of those videos soon. There's so much kind of going on that I
I have like a schedule. I have like all right, Monday I'm doing videos. Tuesday I'm doing just music. Wednesday I just do my podcasts. Thursday, if I don't have a gig, I'll do music again. Friday, gig. And that's usually like my chore day, to be honest with you guys. Because during the weekends, I'm busy as a bee. I'm going to either gigs, or me and the fiance are running around doing errands or doing stuff like that. Or we'll enjoy as much as we can of the day. But being a weekend warrior, it comes with a cost. It comes with a cost, my friend. I tell you. If you guys want to know more about that, like more about the pros and cons of being a musician, I can give you guys a whole podcast on that. There's so many pros and cons, but I love doing it. It's a lot of fun. Last week we had talked about soup dumplings. Such a weird topic. I don't know who the fuck talks about fucking soup dumplings, but I do. So that was a really fun experience, and it got me thinking of all the stories I could talk about this week. And I have on my phone at least 40 stories that I could be talking with you guys. And I thought it would be a good time for me to I don't know, reflect on like is there ever a moment for you guys where you kind of there was a moment in your life where you knew that you were going to do something as a career, if that makes sense? Me and Christina were talking about this the other day, and it was weird how she looked at me and she was like, was there a moment in your life that you knew immediately that you were going to be a musician? Like, was there ever like a moment, and who was a person before that? And it really got me thinking, like, it's just a thought like that. That was a deep question. And it really just got me thinking about it. And I don't know if you guys if there's a hobby or something like that is really, you're really passionate about. Like, some people are really passionate about beekeeping. Some people are passionate about cars. Some people are passionate about baseball. You can be passionate about anything nowadays. I'm passionate about music, as you can tell. I have loads of hobbies that I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about, let's see, epoxy. I love doing epoxy. Making epoxy dice. I love Magic. Like, I'm a huge nerd. Like playing cards, like the Magic the Gathering. So I'll make like dice. I'll make things for that. Like, that's a huge little hobby of mine. I make Native American flutes. Like, it's just it's a huge time, like a hobby. And fishing. Fishing's a huge outdoor stuff. The list kind of goes on and on and on the more I think about it. But you know, and there was, I can recall there being moments for those hobbies where it was introduced to me and I'm like, this is going to be something I'm into. This is something I'm into. And even go to a bigger picture, you know, say like for career choice, you know, if there was, you could be a police officer, you could be a teacher, you could be the doctor, a lawyer, you could be anything. You could be an electrician, a plumber, contractor, carpenter, whatever. But before that was what did you do? Like, what did you do? And like, when was that point that you realized that, oh shit, this is what I'm going to do? And who were you before that? You know, that's like and if you've been doing that for a long time and you go back and you reflect, that's a big thought, you know, especially from me, because I can relate to that really heavily because music has become a huge part of my life. I do it full time. I make content. I'm constantly making TikTok or YouTube videos, or I'm emailing people left and right. It's completely absorbed my life, and I'm okay with that. I kind of went into my life going that direction. And man, to think about the first time, shit. I'm still kind of thinking about it. I think I remember the first time I sang was when I was a little kid, and it was out of nowhere. Like, no, and my parents got it on camera. I wish I had it on camera. Like, my parents got to send that to me. But we're in, like, I think it was California, and I was like 4, maybe at the time. And my sister and their cousins were all singing the Titanic song because that was a huge movie that came out, and it was freaking crazy. And everyone was singing it. I remember singing all the kids were singing the Titanic song, and I forget what song it is, but you know what I'm talking about. But out of nowhere, this little 4-year-old little Austin, little Lou, comes out and starts singing every word to it, like spot on. And I guess I was a really quiet kid, so I guess I didn't do much. You just kind of sat there. So it was very like, oh shit. And that was the first time I ever sang, but it never really like, I don't know, I was too little to kind of know. I remember always that, like, once my parents kind of saw that, they knew that I had like singing in me. So they'd always say to people like, oh, you can sing. And that's kind of like where sort of birthed. But I think where it kind of stemmed from, there's three actually. There's three things I can stem from. There's one, when I did my first talent show when I was in like elementary school. And I just remember just how fun it was. Because I remember working so hard on a song, and I've never really worked on anything before. So it was something that just like resonated with me, just like to have something that you could show and be like, this is something I did. You know, that to me is more appealing than money. I don't know why. Knowledge to me is more appealing than anything. So I think that's what drew it to me. And then the music aspect was, I mean, I did theater, you know, so when I was a little kid, I got into theater, and I did a lot of theater. And from theater, when I went through the puberty phase, which anyone that has done theater, and if you're a dude, specifically a dude, if you're a dude that's in the theater and you go through puberty, it is the worst effing thing in the world. It is horrible. It is literally catastrophe. Because I was doing shows left and right when I was in high school and middle school, and even elementary school. And then it all stopped when I went through puberty, and I was really sad because I loved music, but I couldn't do anything. I didn't know how to play an instrument. So one of my friends let me borrow his guitar, and I borrowed it, and I borrowed it so long, guys, that the guy was like begging me for it back. The family, the parents, I remember them knocking on my door and be like, did you take his guitar? I was like, I didn't know. Yeah, no, I was going to give it back. And they're like, you've had it for like 4 months. He wants to play it. I'm like, oh shit, might be. So I remember my dad gave it back to them, or we gave it back to them. My dad literally took me to a pawn shop, and we bought my first guitar. And that is a story within itself. And then from there, I started just playing guitar left and right. And my doctor was in Newburyport. And I remember I would drive to Newburyport, and I fell in love with it when I was like 15, 16. Now I'm kind of skipping years, 15, 16 now. I remember when I was like obsessed with Newburyport, Massachusetts. If you guys have never been to Newburyport, Massachusetts, go. It's a freaking awesome time. I love it. It's very classic. It's traditional. You have like all the bricks, sidewalks, the shops, the restaurants. I personally love the grog. I used to go to their shows. I used to play at their shows. I used to play in the basement years and years and years and years and years ago. I used to play their open mic nights, and I always go there for their Buckashuck Tuesdays. So they're really good. But I fell in love with it. So I remember when my parents would take me to Newburyport for a doctor's appointment, I would bring my guitar, and I would ask my parents to drive me, I'd say like an hour early, you know, and it would give me time I've been playing guitar for at least 6 months, and I started street performing. And I would street perform. My parents would kind of just sit or go shopping and kind of do something, and I would just street perform for an hour, and then by the time they'd show back up, I would have like $300-400 my guitar case. It was like my mom thought I was stripping. Like, she really thought, she couldn't believe it. She was like, there's no effing way. And you know, so my mom, I remember she was like, you know what we got to do? We got to start taking you to karaoke competitions. That's a story within itself. If you guys want to hear about that, I can talk to you guys. I have some hilarious stories on karaoke. You see some weird things on karaoke competitions, especially in like the really small towns of a small state. New Hampshire's not that big of a small state, but you get what I'm saying. But oh man, yeah, I used to home run karaoke competitions. They were a lot of fun. There's times where I lost, but it was always fun. You know who would always win a karaoke competition? It'd always be that one big dude, that one big motherfucker. And he would just sing like the Bee Gees or something, Guns N' Roses. And even I would be like, shit, my vote's for him, you know, because it was really good. You know, like some people are really talented, especially with karaoke. You know, they really just kind of let loose. You have a couple beers, this is before, I wasn't even drinking when I was doing karaoke competitions. I could imagine how much fun it is when you are drinking and you have a buzz and you do a karaoke competition. You guys should try it. Just do it. Have fun with it. I recommend it. But I love street performing. I loved it more than doing karaoke. I think karaoke's fun, but if you really want to get into music, there's a point where you want to start playing it. You know what I mean? So that's what I started doing. So I would go to Newburyport and I would just street perform all the time. I would drive there. Once I got my license, I would play hooky. I'd tell my parents, I'd make sure oh my God, I think I remember I switched my phone number for my mom in high school. So that way, if I was out, they would call me and I just impersonate my mom, or I would have some woman, give her $20 and have her pretend to be my mom, and it worked like a charm. They never really cared, but I was just constantly out making money. Once I found street performing, it was like a drug. It really was, because it was really fun. I got to sit there in the sun by the docks and just play my music, and I would make more money. And I was working at McDonald's at the time. So I was working at McDonald's, and I would work right after school. I get out, go work at McDonald's. And I remember they started doing the late shift, and I would do the late shift, and I would go to school the next day, and it was rough, but it was fun. I did it, I wanted the extra hours. I wanted to make more money. But when I did street performing, it was like night and day. It was like, whoa, wait the hell, whoa. And that's what was like the big calling for me, because I didn't know I was good at music. I just did theater and picked up the guitar, and when people kind of tip you like that, that's when it's like, oh, shit, am I onto something? Like, maybe I should just keep doing this. So I did, and I would go to festivals. I did music festivals, and I would do not even just music festivals. I used to do Yankee Homecoming. Oh my God, Yankee Homecoming I used to do all the time, and it was like crazy. And that's kind of, if you watch last week's like podcast, that's where I'm kind of like trying to get into this. And like street performing was, it was that thing that was that eye opener that was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I started doing it full time, and now here I am now with you guys on a YouTube channel, and I'm constantly making content, new album coming out. I'm super pumped about it. It's a weird thought to think about and to reflect. It's always good to reflect. I don't know if you guys ever do that. You just kind of look back and, oh shit, I did do this. I did, because especially when you're self-employed and you're your own boss, you don't really get a good slap on the back, like a pat on the back. You just kind of just keep going. You do the project and you keep going. I was watching this podcast with Joey Diaz. I don't know if you guys are into comedians at all. You should, though. They're freaking awesome people. Joey Diaz is one of my favorite comedians, Uncle Joey. He was talking about how being a comedian, he doesn't realize what he does. He just takes it day by day. It's not until someone comes up to him and he's like, they're like, oh, you did this and it was so good. And that's when he'll be like, oh, yeah, you're right. I did do that, but he just plays it day by day, because you never know. You just keep going. And I can relate with that. I'm the same way. I go day by day. I have my schedule. I have my things I got to do, but at the end of it all, I'm doing it all on my own, and I just do it because I love it. And every day I'm doing something new and doing something and progressing. So that's a thought. And that's kind of where it gets into me being cultural and everything. That's where I was like with my last podcast. If you watched it, I was talking about how like open I am with cultures and everything like that, because I love it. Because when I was street performing, you meet so many people and you go to so many places. There was a time where I street performed and I bussed from Newburyport, Massachusetts, all the way to New York City. And if you guys want to hear that, I could talk about that. That's a crazy story within itself, man. I was in high school. It was bad. It was great. It was a fun experience. Wanted to see if I could do it. I did it. But you take gigs, I can't tell you how many weird gigs I've taken. I've taken gigs up the wazoo where, I look back and I'm like, did I really do a SpongeBob themed party for a 40-year-old? You do, but you take them because it's an experience, it's a paycheck, and it's fun, you know. It's fun, and you get to do what you love to do. And I love to make people happy. That's what I love to do. I love to entertain and make people happy. That's what I've always done, I guess. But yeah, and there was this one time when I was in college, I took this gig, and it was it was for a church. Actually, it was for a church gig, and my sister runs marathons. I don't know if any of you guys watching this, you run marathons, you run the 5Ks. Cheers to you. Holy moly. I used to do cross country and track when I was in high school and middle school. Never again. Maybe at some point in my life I'll get to it, but I'll just stick to my yoga that I barely get to, you know. But that's a hard sport. That's a lot of endurance. That's a lot of training and preparation. It's kind of like music, you know. You train and you prepare for this moment, and you go for it, and you keep running for it. But my sister, she was really into it. I mean, she has like a wall that's dedicated to all these medals. She has like all the medals that she did. She did a lot of them. And there was a time that when I took this church gig, that it was during the time of her Boston, not the Boston Marathon. I think it was like the one to get into the Boston Marathon. It was a really big moment for her. And you couldn't miss it. I remember I could not miss this opportunity. Once in a lifetime opportunity to see my sister almost be in the Boston Marathon. So I take the gig, and the way it was happening, I think it was on a Saturday. The gig was on a Saturday, and my family was all down in Boston on Saturday, and I was way up in North New Hampshire on Saturday. So I took this gig, and it was a fun gig. It was weird. There was a point in my time in college where I knew how to sing Italian arias, and I knew how to sing the church stuff, and I was doing that. That's actually how I started performing on my own, was doing church gigs. That's a story within itself, because it's a really short period of my time that I did. But I used to sing like Italian, German, what was it? Italian, German. Some other ones. There were some other weird ones. But because that's what I was going to college for, was performance, vocal performance, and pedagogy. And so I took this gig, and everything was fine. It was good. It was like it was beautiful out. It was a nice sunny outdoors, kind of like a little church vibe. And they had little hors d'oeuvres. They had some hors d'oeuvres. I don't know why I just became like the mayor of Bob's Burgers. Hello, Belchers. It's rent o'clock. But yeah. So I did the church gig, and I from there I raced all the way down to Boston, Massachusetts in my car, in my little Scion Cube I was driving at the time, which was beat to shit from all the times I went up north. So I'm driving down there, get down there fine. But my problem was, now her race was on a Sunday. The gig was on a Saturday. They were spending the Saturday kind of hanging out, making a family day. I took the gig to make some money, and then I drove down to Boston, and I was meeting them at night. But the drive with traffic did not work the way I wanted it to. Now, I was 18 at the time, and I got there, and it was this 5-star hotel, like bougie as F, which anyone that knows my family, we don't roll that way. So I don't know which one of these mother effers are in the cartel or something like that, because that was weird, because it was really fancy. And I just remember like showing up being like, where do I park? Like usually we park in a motel, and usually my mom's outside smoking a butt, so it's pretty clear where to park. So I'm like, where the hell are we where do I go? Like there's parking garages, it's Boston, Mass, and it's like off the highway, and it's all loopy doopy and crazy, and whoa. I mean, I know in my last episode I said I know Boston, but that's now. You know, when I was 18, I did not know Boston. So I just remember being flustered as all hell. So I park in the side garage, the side parking garage. And I just remember getting out, and I saw all these people dressed up. but they were dressed up in this very cultural, unique way that white boy from New Hampshire has never having seen before. You know, I was like, what is going on? This is cool. I'm like, this is cool. I like it already. So I'm like looking around, and I'm trying not to stare, and I'm like following the guy because he's going, I'm assuming he's going to the hotel, and I don't know how to get to the hotel. So I'm kind of behind him, and he's in this like almost gown, and I can tell it's like an African cultural thing where they have like the caps on, but it's so colorful and vibrant. And I'm just thinking, why can't we dress like that? That's so cool. That's so cool. Like if you take a picture, they just look like colors. It's just so cool. I just kept thinking, I'm just like, whoa, this is super cool. So I'm following him. He gets to the hotel. We get there, and I see my mom. And sure enough, as I was telling you guys, usually if we stay at a hotel, it's a motel. My mom's outside smoking a butt. Well, my mom was outside smoking a butt in this gorgeous hotel. So I go up to her, and I'm like, wow, this is a spot. And as we're sitting there, and then we're both smoking a cigarette, we're seeing more of these people just kind of walk into the hotel, and they're kind of getting there for an event. And I'm confused. Now, I've never been to this hotel. I don't even know what's going on. I've just showed up, and all these people are dressed to the nines. And I'm dressed in like, I was like in thrift store pants that I like, nice thrift store dress pants, and a really thrift store tacky dress shirt with a thrift store like overcoat, you know. I really fit the church right in, you know. So I get there, and everyone's clearly dressed like they're going to an event, and it's awesome. And rude motorcycles nowadays. It's all good. But so we get there, and as we're just chilling there, we see one of these guys comes up, and they ask my mom for a cigarette, and she gives him a cigarette. And now meanwhile, he's one of these people that's dressed up, and I look at him, I'm like, I have to ask. Your outfit is dope. Because back then I used to say dope all the time. Dope AF. And he looks at me and goes, really? And he was like, I appreciate that. And he kind of gives me like a little history of it. Now, this guy could have been totally bullshitting me. But I'm pretty sure he was dead on serious. His name was Abraham. I'll never forget that. His name was Abraham. And he smokes a cigarette with me and my mom. You know, it's like 8 o'clock, like 9 o'clock. And I'm so interested in what this event is that he's like, do you want to come see it? And I'm like, oh, I mean, I don't want to intrude. And because sure enough, what it was a huge wedding. It was a huge wedding of these two big families, not like big families, big tribes. And they both hated each other. And it's like Romeo and Juliet type shit. And I can't believe I just said two families. That could have been really bad. Incest. No, but there were two tribes, and they both had like beef all the time. And these two, the boy from one tribe and a girl from the other tribe, they got together, and it was like literally Romeo and Juliet type shit. So I was like, what the hell? That's cool. So he's like, yeah, why don't you come on in? I'll show you around. I'll show you the food. I'll show you the music. I'll show you, I'll give you the whole tour. And I'm just like, I don't want to intrude, but this is cool. Remember I said last time, I was like, I can't say no to a good story. I love a good experience. And I could tell I was in good hands. I could tell I'm always a vibe person. I can tell when the vibes are off, and I'm like, nah, I'm in good hands. These are good people. So my mom, like, she looks at me and she was like, yeah, you go with them. Like, you've always been into the cultural stuff. You'll fit right in. You'll love it. Here's our hotel card. We're at this number. Just feel free to come back whenever you can. Now, I wasn't even trying to go. My mom just like looked at me. She's like, go. You do you. Like, this would be a lot of fun for you. People in their motorcycles. I can't wait to have a motorcycle one day. No, I'm not even mad. Anywho, so I get there. And remember how I was telling you guys in my last podcast, like when you for a typical white dude in New Hampshire, when you go to a place and you realize you're the only white dude in the room, it can be a shock. My first shock was years ago when I went to Jamaica. Years ago, I was probably 12. I already experienced it, and I love Jamaica. That's a great place. And Nassau, Jamaica, even it has like a weird rep, but the people there are so beautiful and just so friendly. God bless them. So anywho, he takes me in to the hotel. Like, so we're going into the hotel. Abraham, this dude, is guiding me, and he's talking to me about the tribes. He's talking to me about the culture, the food I'm about to eat, if I like spicy or non-spicy. I don't care, lamb or non-lamb, vegetarian, blah, blah. I didn't care. I was like, I wasn't even trying to eat. I was just trying to actually go see my family, but now I just got sucked into this great experience. So I really wasn't trying to, but I want this, no. You just show me the way. So we get in the hotel, and I barely saw a glimpse, sober, that's why I say sober, glimpse of the hotel room, of the hotel lobby, and it was beautiful, but it was only for like a split second, because like the room where they were having their party was over on the right. So we literally just go voomp, and when they opened the door to this place, it was like Aladdin. It was the coolest thing ever. I've never seen a wedding like it before. It was the coolest wedding I've ever been to. I mean, the colors were just, if you're tripping, I'm sure that would be a fucking experience. That's all I'm saying. Because they had like vibrant blues, very yellow and oranges, and just very beautiful colors that were just all over the place. And they had big pillars that were like shiny, and it was crazy. And you look over to the left, and it's huge. Like, there's a huge dance floor. There's a DJ playing music that I have no idea what language it's in, but it's still cool because it's like it was good music. I liked it. And there's a bunch of tables, and everyone's feasting galore, and it's loud. Like, you came in here, you had to be like, how's it going? You had to be like that loud to understand what's going on to the person right next to you, which isn't a bad thing. I'm used to that kind of stuff. Some people, some the dance floor, there's so much stuff going on, and then I look over to my left, and there's the bride and groom, and they're on this throne, dude. They're on a throne like I've never seen before. Like, it blew Aladdin's out of the damn sky. Like, oh my god, like, it was just huge. It was huge. And I remember he brought me to the bride and groom to be like, this is my guest for today. And like, I had to shake the bride and groom's hand at being like, am I meeting a prince and princess right now? Like, I was so like flabbergasted. So he's like, you want to eat? So I'm like, sure. So he sits me down, and we start eating. And the food was awesome. It was kind of like I from what I remember, it kind of tastes like Spanish food, but it wasn't Spanish food. It was like really good. I remember the rice was really good. They had like a huge bowl of rice, and it had like things in it. It was like a pork fried rice, but it wasn't. It was really good. And I devoured it. And because I just drove all the way from northern New Hampshire all the way down to Boston, Mass, which is like a 3.5 hour drive. So I could have, I was hungry. I'm not gonna lie, Abraham, you knew. So I don't know if you guys ever crashed a wedding. I don't know if you're watching this, comment below. Have you ever crashed a wedding before? It is like the most obscene. Like, there's two types of people. I mean, I'm assuming there's multiple types of people, but like, you can either enjoy crashing the party, or you could hate it, or you could be kind of like shitting your pants. I was low-key shitting my pants, but like, here's where it got interesting. So we're eating, and Abraham looks at me and goes, you want to go outside for a smoke? And I was like, sure, yeah, I could go for another smoke. And mind you, I just had like 2 plates of this rice, so I'm good. So we go outside for a smoke, and like about 5 other dudes come out with us, and we're all laughing, shooting the shit. They're being like, what's your white ass doing here? And I'm like, Abraham brought me. I've never seen anything like this, and this is cool as shit. This is probably the coolest. I'm gonna talk about this story for the rest of my life, and here I am. And so they're all, oh yeah, they were like, we're all just vibing, just shooting the shit, and we're all smoking cigarettes, and Abraham's like, you guys want a drink? And we're all like, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, and Abraham's like, you want a drink? Come on, come drink with us. And I'm like, yeah, let's go, let's have a drink. And I thought we were gonna go back to the hotel room, but these motherfuckers roll in style. These motherfuckers roll crazy style, man. Whoa. Now, mind you, I showed up in a Scion Cube, beat up to shit from all the times I've driven up to northern New Hampshire. We get to these guys' car, they're driving Mercedes, they're driving Teslas. I don't even know if Teslas are around, but they're driving bougie ass cars where I'm wearing a thrift store outfit right now. Clearly out of place, but I'm vibing. It's all good. So Abraham pops his trunk, and there's a bar in his trunk. What? Who does that? That's genius. It was like a bucket of ice. There was bottles of tequila, bottles of Corona. It was a great grand time. And I learned of a new drink that I never had before, and it F's you up. Now I'm 19, 18 at the time. They think I'm 21. I didn't say anything because I'm in college, and I'm like, whoo, I get to score in a free party. Wasn't even planning it. And I'm like, this is great. I'm happy. So, they pour, what was it? They poured tequila. I thought I was going to get tequila. Is this before? No, if any of you guys know me, I love Corona. There's two beers I love, Corona and Stripe 9. Stripe 9 Brewing Company. Got you. But I love my Coronas. Corona with lime. Best way to have a drink. Ooh, put 2 limes in there. It tastes like Skittles. Ooh, hoo, hoo. Love it. I love it. But that's just my taste buds. Anywho, so they fill up a cup with tequila, and wow, tequila. I mean, it was like a, typical, not like a red Solo cup. It's like one of those white clear cups. You know what I mean? Like a small cup, a little bit bigger, actually, like a clear red Solo cup. Because they filled it with ice, put tequila in it, and then it took a bottle of Corona and stuck it on the top. It was like a Coronita, I think that's what they're called, like a margarita Corona. And guys, we probably had 3 of them. 3, I think. Now, I'm a small dude. I probably should have stopped. But I don't know. It was just too good of a. We're all laughing. We're all talking about, jobs and experiences and shit like that. They're telling me what I should do after college. They're giving me life lessons. They're telling me about this and that. It was all great. And after 3 of those bad boys, I got fudged up. I blacked out. And the worst part was, I never got kicked out or anything. It didn't get that bad, because in my mind, subconsciously, when I blacked out, I knew I couldn't. I was kind of, you don't want to overstep any boundaries when you're crashing a wedding. Technically, you're just there. You got to float. You can't step on anyone's toes. So I remember there was a point where I was Abraham introduced me to a bunch of people. Then he brought me to the dance floor, and then he left, and I was just dancing with a bunch of chicks for I don't even know how long. And then Abraham came back, and then he was like, do you want to meet so-and-so? And then I was like, sure. So I meet these so-and-sos. They start talking to me about life over in somewhere that I don't remember. And then they told me to talk to these people. And then as I'm talking to these people, this huge, they had people dressed up in costumes, guys. They had people dressed up in big costumes. It was like a Disney performance. And it was insane. So I don't know. It was you don't see this shit normally. So I'm like, what's happening? So I'm talking to these people. I'm like, what's happening? Can someone explain this to me? And they're like, oh, you need to talk to these people. So I go over to those people. I ask them what's happening. Those people tell me to talk to these people. They tell me to go talk to them. Now I get it. No one wants to talk to this white boy. I get it. But what ends up happening was someone pointed me to the DJ. And the DJ looks at me and he's like, how can I help you? And I'm like, I'm just curious about what's happening here. I'm super interested in what's happening. And this dude, this DJ, cuts the music. Like, typical cliche, like, and he's like, grabs a microphone, grabs me in his arm, and he's like, this man right here, this young man who's so interested in our culture, was curious about what this performance is about. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to explain it to you like this. And it was the demons of... That's where I kind of drizzled out, you know? And all I remember when I came back to was there was a camera on me. And when I mean a camera, I don't mean like your typical HD grandma and grandpa camera that are recording the wedding. I'm talking about we're going live at 9 p.m. And the guy had a headphone. He had like a headset that I had on with a microphone, and he had a big battery pack, and he had a satchel on. And I'm like, where did I just go? 1999? Why? Whoa, dude. Like, this guy had a huge camera. And it's not like I was saying something stupid or anything. I think that guy was just recording the night. I think that was just like the hired videographer. And they wanted to get my dumbass making a dumbass decision. But anyway, when I realized that there was this camera pointing up at me and this tiny dude holding it, I'm like, I fudged up. Because I'm looking at the bride and groom, and they're kind of like laughing and smiling, but it's kind of like the awkward, like, I don't know what to do kind of laugh and smile. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, get the hell off. So, that's when I'm like, I need to say my farewells and go. So after that moment, I find Abraham, and I'm like, hey, it was a great experience. Thank you so much. And I'm pretty sure at this point I'm not making sense. I would assume I'm not making much sense because I'm drunk as a skunk. And he's like, absolutely. And he's like, if you need anything, if you have any questions at all, if you get lost, here's my number. And he gives me his number. And I'm like, oh, I appreciate that, dude. Thank you so much. Much love. I appreciate it. You have a good night. Thank you, guys. Congratulations again. Thank you for... And I say my farewells and get out. Skadoosh. And I get out there, and I go to... As I'm walking to my hotel room, I look over, and there's a piano. And I'm like, I'm going to Billy Joel this shit. Now, at this time, I knew how to play piano because I was a freshman in college, but it wasn't like I was no Billy Joel. I was just learning C, E, G, D, like, you know. So I'm probably just sitting there fiddling around, and I remember getting like, there was like 4 girls around me at the piano, and that's when like the hotel staff come over and they're like, hey, you need to cut it out. You need to stop playing music. And that's when I realized too, I was like, I'm too drunk. I'm just too drunk. I need to go home. So I need to go to my hotel room. And I just remember, I think I threw up all over the lobby or something like that. I don't remember exactly what got into it. But I remember it not being beautiful. I'll tell you that much. It wasn't a peach. And I just remember asking the person at the desk where my hotel room was, and they pointed me where it was, and I kind of shimmied my way to my hotel room, and I got in, and the lights are off, and it's pitch black, and everyone's sleeping because it's like probably 2 o'clock in the morning. And I just find a spot on the floor, no pillow, no blanket. Oh, wait, I did grab a pillow. I did. Because I remember being like, I'm not just going to sleep on the floor with nothing, like on a hotel floor. Nuh-uh, I ain't that low yet. So I grab a hotel pillow and just pass right out. And right on the floor, wake up, and it's like, my parents woke me up at like 5 o'clock in the morning because everyone was getting up for breakfast. Oh, buddy. You want to talk about a hangover. That's where I was like, never again. Like, there was a time, I don't know if you guys have ever done that though. I don't know if anyone who ever watches this has ever crashed a party. Have you ever crashed a party before? That's a whew, buddy. Would I do it again? Yeah, I would. I wouldn't go to that extent, but I would. There was a time in Mexico, and I went to Mexico recently. There was a wedding at the beach, and I had a couple Purple Rains. I was feeling myself some Scooby Doo's. Oh yeah, and there was a wedding. I remember trying to shimmy my way, but I just remember thinking like, no, because there's a moment. That's how you get into it. See, there's a way that you can do it, and then it's like it just happens. If you want to get yourselves into like a good experience, or you want to do something like that, I'm not saying do it, but there's a way, and it's just be yourself and find that moment. If you find someone outside of the party smoking a butt, smoke a butt with them. Shoot the shit with them. Life's too short. That's the way I look at it. I think that's how I do it. Life's too short. If you're watching this, god damn it, life's too short. You just got to take that moment and run with it. I'm a really quiet guy for the most part, unless you get me going and I've had a couple beers, then I'll be really talkative. But most of the time I'm a pretty reserved person. And but sometimes I just have to put that aside and just, I don't know, because get out of your comfort zone. You know what I mean? It's always good to get out of your comfort zone. Not change. Don't change, but just experience something different. Keep your eyes open. Because if you don't keep your eyes open, you're never going to grow as a human being. You're always just going to be the same person. And to me, I don't know. Some people can do that. You do you. What I love to say is you do you as long as it's not in my pond. But I don't know if you've seen Free Guy. I think it's Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds, or the one where he is like an NPC. I think it's Free Guy. Well, Ryan Reynolds plays like this NPC in a video game, and it's pretty much like he wakes up at this time, he does this, he does that, he does this, he does that, he does this, he does that. He does grow. That's the bad example. But what I'm trying to get to is like if you don't want to grow, or you don't keep be open-minded, you're gonna become like an NPC in a video game. That's the way that's the way I look at it. I don't know if you guys do, but that's why I always try to experience new things, because there's a point where we as human beings, we get into a routine. You start getting into a routine, you start doing something, and sure enough, you realize, shit, I've been doing this for the same routine for 4 years. Switch it up. Instead of trying coffee, try tea. Don't do that. Drink coffee. I'm drinking tea right now, but that's because I've already had 2 cups of coffee. So yeah, try different stuff. It's always good to be open-minded. I have to be, because with music, it just happened. When you do so many covers, I call myself a cover musician, but I also am a singer-songwriter because I also write my own music. But when it comes to my covers, I remember just doing just 5 artists, and because those are the only musicians I listened to, and that's what I personally liked. And I would force it on people and expect people to like it too. And it's very selfish to think that way as a musician, especially with your own music. See how I just did the rock eyebrow raise right there? That's how you know shit's about to get real. Because I see so many musicians that are like, I'm just going to play all my original music. And that's cool, but you're not proving anything. Like, you're just kind of being a dick. Because no one wants to hear... Like, I had to accept it. Me as a musician, I've had to accept that. You don't play your original music. Because when a bar is hiring you, like especially like a big bar, and they want a musician, odds are they want a musician that's going to play those songs that you hear on the radio, and they attract a crowd, and they make people stay. That's what being an entertainer and musician is. It's getting with what's it called, the Joneses, And that was a moment when I was young. I would say in my freshman year of college, that when I realized that, I was like, I have to do it. I have to start playing covers. And it was in my first band, or my third band actually I was in. And it was just when Uptown Funk came out. And it just didn't work out. I remember being like, this, if we played this song, everyone would go bonkers. And sure enough, if you look at YouTube and all that, how many times has that song been covered? So many times. And how many views do those really good covers have? Millions of views. I mean, this is right when it was just coming out. I think it was just about to blow up. And that's when I realized I got to be a solo musician too. So that's when I started being a solo musician and started doing more covers, because I wanted to not just be an NPC. You know, I didn't want to just be that person that just wakes up and does that. And it goes in the same sense as being a musician. You know, I'm not just, if you come to see my shows, I'm not just playing typical covers. I'm not just doing your typical mashups or tributes. I'm not just playing my typical originals. I do them sneaky, you know. I sneak in my originals, you know, and I only do it when people request them. That's how I do it. As if you are someone that's playing in bars and you want to do it seriously, you play your covers, homie. You play your covers. Unless someone requests you an original, then you do the original. Then you wow them. You, oh, wow. Can I hear another one? Absolutely. I can show you another one. It's like a business card too. You know, here's a sticker. I love giving out stickers because I love stickers. If you see my guitar case, it is slapped to crap with stickers. Why? Because I've been to so many places. I've been everywhere, man. Let's see where we're at. We're at 56 minutes. We're at 56. Story time, no comments. We've had 2 views. Listen, if you're watching this, the reason why I like to do these type of videos is it's kind of training myself to be a better vlogger, to be a better podcaster. Eventually, I want to start having people on with me. If you've seen them in the past ones, I used to have people pretty frequently. And my plan was to have a ton of people on, and then COVID happened. And it made it so difficult. Like, so many people backed out. It killed me. But it was okay because I totally got it. It's okay. I think I was definitely one of those people that during COVID, I was really trying to push and not realize what was happening, but it happened, and I had to, you know, protect myself, not even just myself, but everyone else around me. You know, that's what it came down to. Just being, look again. Should this story time just be called open-minded? No, it shouldn't. But like, yeah, it's just, you just have to be cautious. So now that it's back, I want to start having people on, but I don't even know where or how. I mean, I could have me sit here and then someone sit here, but this is a mess over here, so I need to freaking clean that. And yeah, but I have so many stories that I plan on telling with you guys. Like I said, I have like, I think 40 or 50 stories, so I'm probably gonna do those because we're on episode 21 now, which that makes me feel good. I was looking back at them and I was just trying to see how many quarantine podcasts I did, and we left on with 20, and I'm picking it back up 21. So that made me really happy to see that. So I was like, wow, 2021, dude. I've done 21 of those live streams. I've done so many live streams and podcasts that it kind of like I lose track, but I want to start having a number, like a set number to them. And if you guys like this kind of stuff, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Don't be shy. Seriously, I really look forward to your guys' reactions and stuff like that. I've been trying, speaking of reactions, I've been trying to make a new reaction video, but it's effing hard, dude. I don't know what the hell to react. What do people react to nowadays? I don't know. But I was thinking about reacting to some TikTok stuff. Maybe I could do that. So I'm going to take a quick little break here. I'm just not really going to break. I just want to share this on my Facebook page, try to get some more traction and see if this works. I've been trying to step up my A game with promotions and all this stuff, and tune in for some Laughs and good vibes. Post. So yeah. I just had to share that. We're at 1 hour, by the way. My goal is to kind of make these an hour and a half kind of long. Again, so talking about all that stuff we were talking about earlier. If you tuned in, you got a nice little treat right there. I mean, I might as well give you guys another little quick story since it's story time. I'd like to have a little short one for you guys. We're talking about hobbies earlier. I don't know if you guys do have hobbies. Comment if you have hobbies. Let's talk about that. We'll talk about hobbies. I'll show you guys some of my flutes too. So weird. This is like, so my studio is not just like my music studio, it's also my hobby room. Comment if you have hobbies, dude. Hobbies are great. Hobbies are stuff that you can kind of unplug and kind of just get away from stuff. Like for me, I like my hobbies. But oh yeah, this is one I made. This is my low E. No, my low F sharp. I haven't played in a while, so if it sounds like poopers, it's probably... Yeah, it's a little dry. So, but yeah, I make flutes. That's one of the things, the hobbies I love doing, just because it's fun, and I don't know, why not? Epoxy, that's another one I got into. Fishing, oh my god, I love fishing. Any of you guys that know me, I love to fish. I love to make mead. I'm going to be making my own beer soon, just for shits and giggles, because Stripe Night was such an influence on me, you know, that it's kind of like I should try it, you know. So I've been wanting to do that. That's going to be a new thing I'm going to be getting into. You know, it's another weird one. I got into vaping. So I've always been into vaping. I quit smoking recently, like really bad. It was getting to a point where I was just I couldn't do it anymore. I woke up one day and it was like last Sunday, and just wasn't good. And I've had this though for over 2 years. I've always gone into I've vaped when I was in college, vaped when I was in high school, and I've recently gone back into it. So that's like a hobby of mine that I'm kind of getting into, and making my own juice. That's gonna be, because you want to know what's another thing I'm realizing? Holy moly, vape is dying. Vaping is like, it's becoming like an old thing. Like it's like the time of the past. No one really has what I have anymore. They have like the jewels or the disposables. So I've been going to vape stores, and it's like impossible to find like an RDA or vape juice, anything like that. So I have to I was like, shit. I remember stumbling on YouTube, and I ended up finding a video on how to make your own e-juice, and then I just went down a rabbit hole, and it's very easy, and vape juice is not dangerous at all. Like, it's actually crazy how easy you can make it. The only dangerous part is the nicotine, but you just gotta be cautious with that. I mean, there was a point where me and Christina were making soaps. I don't know if you guys have ever thought about making soaps like that. I did. We did. We did that for a while, and we stopped because our cat got into lye. For those of you that don't know, lye is a component in soap, for making soap. And I don't know, we left it on the counter, and we put him in the room, and he was freaking out, and we had to let him out, and we were trying to get him into a different room, but he ran out and jumped up on the counter and licked the lye. Like, literally just went like right up to it and just like, what's this, and licked it. And that was a fun vet trip, because he legit like licked, like, digested lye was not good. We had to give him a bunch of antibiotics. I forget what they had to do to me. I think he had to stay overnight. It was miserable. But yeah, so we stopped that hobby. You know, I like hobbies that are non-dangerous, I guess you should say. I got into wood, like whittling, but I have so many scars on my hand, dude, just from it, you know. So I had to stop just because I learned I'm not really good with wood carving. I'm just not good with it. I don't know if you guys wood carve at all, but it's a great pastime thing. Like I did, it kills your hands, man. kills your hands, but I like to work with my hands, so it was fun. I don't know, it's a point where you start doing something for so long that music still gives me the same feeling that I got when I first started doing it. I write differently. My writing's changed, everything's changed, but I just do things differently, and it's not that because I do it differently it's easier. It's just I don't know. I feel like when you practice a skill for so long, it's not that it's easy. It just becomes more drilled in your head. Like I can literally recite every scale right now in my head to you right now. I can tell you how to build a triad. I can do a diminished seven. It just goes on and on. That you start looking at other hobbies, you know? You start looking at other stuff because, especially for me, I do this full time with music. So I want another hobby that I can do, and it's not technically work related. So that's where I started getting into fishing. Like fishing was my first hobby that I really got into in college. Oh yeah, buddy. Oh yeah. I used to go fishing all the time, and Christina brought it out in me because she recommended it to me because we lived near a little fishing spot. She was like, you know, someone should go fishing down there. And just that kind of got in my head. And then we watched like some YouTubers on fishing, and then I was like, I'm hooked. Haha, get it. So it's always good. And I always tell people to have hobbies because it keeps you busy, and it makes you it's allowing you to learn, giving you more things. Because once you stop school and you college, high school, whatever it may be, it's up to you. It's up to you to get that knowledge and to grow and to do that stuff. And I think there was a point for me when I was just like, and I haven't even been out of college for that long, but there was just a point where I was like, yeah, no, I need to get a hobby or something. Cause that's I don't know. That's why I like school, cause you could learn something. You were learning something new. It's cool. And when you're out of it, it's up to you to learn. That's why it's important to read or do that stuff. I don't really read though that much. I like to play video games. That's for sure. Oh boy, video games, man. I don't know if anyone watching this plays video games. I tell you, my friend, I've been playing the crap out of Gearbox's new Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. For those of you that don't know, I'm a huge gamer. I love my video games. I've actually wanted to do some streaming on Twitch, but that's a whole other ballpark, and I don't know if I'd do good. I don't know if I'd be a good streamer because I consider myself a stoner, like a stoner gamer. I don't know if you guys know what that means, but it pretty much is like I'm very slow and lackadaisical. I'm not trying to be number one. I'm not trying to be in the top score. I like to sometimes I like to look at the scenery and laugh at like the little things, and I take in the small things, and I'll laugh at a chair, or something like that. I'll laugh at like an NPC that's just like glitched out or something like that. I love open world games. Open world, for those of you that don't know, it's a game where there's no load screens really. There are load screens though in this game, but it's different. It's not like it's like a level based game. Like if you've ever played Doom, Doom is like where you're playing like here's level 1, here's level 2, here's level 3, here's boss, An open world is pretty much like it's up to you. You have a quest, you have a mission, but you can go off to the side and do this, do that. You can do anything. And usually they have like the games will have hobbies within the game. Like you can do fishing, or you can do crafting. You can craft stuff, stuff like that. And that's usually what an open world game is. It's allowing you to submerge yourself into the world rather than here's level 1, here's level 2, and not many load screens. So you're just constantly just walking and just having fun. Adventures for days is what I like to call it. And Borderlands was a huge game that I got into when I was 14. I forget when it released, but I was subscribed to Game Informer. That's how I got all my good treats, and I had like a collage in my room of all my Game Informers because I collected them. I loved them, and that's how I would find all the video games I was going to be buying that year. So I would look through it, and I remember seeing this one little corner of the side of the page with this picture, but that picture just sold me right there, man. And the description they had, whoever wrote that article, dude, for their Game Informer way back then, and it had to have been their first debut, literally was what got them money. There's two things. They used Ain't No Rest for the Wicked 2 for their song, for their game. Genius. And it's just a game where it's open world, you know, it has thousands and thousands of guns that you can choose from, and you know, there's ones that are, you know, basic, common, uncommon, and legendary, mythic, and chaos, and like the better the rarity, the better the gun. And they can shoot in elements, they can shoot in like corrosive fire and shit like that, and it's super nerdy. But it's fun because you get to fight all these cool bosses, and there's hours of quests and missions to do, little things here and there. They have little Easter eggs, and the new Tiny Tina's Wonderland it's like a spin-off of Borderlands, but it's not Borderlands. It's like it has the characters from it, but it's like a D&D, it's like a Dungeons and Dragons-esque kind of themed game with guns and Borderlands mechanics to it. And it's couch co-op. For those of you that don't know what couch co-op is, it means I could play right next to you. We could sit on the couch and just sit there and play it split screen on the TV. Not many games do that nowadays, which is big bonkers. So to have a game like that is pretty sweet. So I've been playing that a lot, and I'm probably gonna play it later today. But, great game. Let me know if you guys are gamers. I'd love to know if there's any game. I saw some people playing Magic the Gathering at one of my shows. They didn't last long because they probably thought it was gonna be quiet, but it was a very packed night at Stripe 9. So I think they played like one game, maybe a 20 life game, and then wrapped up. I usually rep Coma, or what's the other one? Coma or Muldrotha. Those are my two go-to commander decks for Magic. Nerd alert. Yeah, so thank you guys. I'm going to kind of wrap this up in a bit. I just want to talk about sort of what I'm going to be doing in the future. I'm going to be doing a lot more vlogging. I'm going to be doing some more podcasts like this every Wednesday. You guys can actually follow me on Facebook, and I actually do a live stream there as well. I do a live music live stream. This is my Storytime podcast. YouTube is my outlet. It gets me to be a better entertainer. It gets me to practice new materials. It gets me to be just an overall better performer, I guess I should say. So if you guys like this, feel free to like and subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell. You'll be notified every time I make a video, which is a lot. I'm trying to post more videos here once a week or stuff like that, but you guys can follow me on Facebook, and over there I will be doing a live stream, and I do both the Storytime and my Facebook live stream on the same day, Wednesday, but I do the Facebook one at 5 o'clock. At 5. I'm gonna be doing more review videos. I did a Kala review video. I watched it and it was garbage, and I look at my Art and Loot 3 one, which has almost 4,000 5,000 views, and I look at the two and I'm like, why isn't this one not doing as good as that one? And it's because it was horrible. So I'm probably gonna be doing another one of these. And my Takamine, I got a new Takamine. If you guys are not aware, all my gear got destroyed at a gig, and the venue had to kindly help me out, and they were generous enough to buy me a new guitar, which was that Takamine. It's not hanging up right now. It's in the guitar case, but I'll be doing a review of that because it's an amazing guitar. If you guys like my Art and Loot 3 video, you're probably gonna like the Takamine video, because I'm not gonna lie, kind of blows the Takamine. It kind of blows Art and Loot 3 out of the water. But yeah, so more stuff's on the way. Albums coming out, all that good stuff. Thank you guys so much, so much for tuning in. this week was about being open-minded. We're talking about the street performing and talking about all that stuff, and maybe crashing a wedding or two, and hobbies, because you always need hobbies. If you guys liked it, talk about your hobby. I want to know what your favorite hobby is, because they're great. Have a good one. Feel free to like my Facebook page. I'll be over there in just a few, but until next time, stay awesome, homies.